Hello, my friends and peeps. I'm here to talk to you about visceral solidarity. And I am doing this from an inspiration I got from a post on the neo-aristocracy being reconstituted with worldwide serfdom versus the solidarity of the repressed and the suppressed. This post was on an economic neo-aristocracy, and with it was a picture of a hierarchy from those at the top who control the 98% at the bottom. Now, the talking heads of the mainstream media wouldn't dare come out and mention any rabid support for this idea of domination of 98% over the few, because those few are the paymasters. Yet we, the people, beyond our basic survival interests, have no such duty or loyalty to this system or the rationale behind it. Since many of the threats and anxieties to our own security and comfort come from the commercial and governmental policymakers, plus the repressive operatives of this system. But let us, O Bruti, not project the guilt of a world's iniquities and injustices entirely on those amoral and indifferent knaves at the top of this economic pyramid who squash those at the bottom under the weight of their excesses. The ills are part of how we are also. We have had our chances to rectify, but chose to run and escape to those illusionary utopias of location, the 15th century Western Hemisphere, or the latter creeds and ideologies, which few of which have challenged the authority of the few who sought to subjugate, if not outright enslave them. By these well-meaning creeds, we have avoided our duty as elements of nature, which come together for the solidarity, oxidation, or reduction that maintain the equilibrium of the local homeostasis for the equilibrium of a holistic system. If anything, we left an over-imbalance that created incestuous polarities, which led to the Holocaust of World War I and World War II, because of ruling elites and their corrupt architecture of structure and operation created a shift where only a fanatic, such as Gavrilo Princip for World War I and Adolf Hitler for World War II, were the necessary agents to change the composition of the historical elements of the modern world. Today, terrorists are doing the profound provincial effects that are influencing the global dynamics of today. This is happening because the masses are such low-level elemental actions that the corrupt systems are able to adapt and maintain their primary functions. The last great populist revolt against the aristocratic paradigm, the French Revolution, was the last significant martial terror to the entire political and economic order of the aristocracy. By the time of the Bolshevik Revolution, the masses, not under colonial domination, no longer have the technological power to challenge the power of the state directly. The protracted tactics of Mao, Ho Chi Minh, and Jomo Kenyatta, where poverty, class disparity, and estrangement were so broad as to have a sympathetic, if not active, mass base of followers and sympathizers is no longer possible in the cooperative bourgeois societies, where the illusion of wealth and possessions were diverting distractions and spectacles to keep the populace subdued and apathetic to any dramatic change in the historical order. This is why terrorism is an ineffective tool for liberation, since it polarizes the populace towards a false sense of order and security of their larcenous and repressive order control of their governments, rule, and authority, than any affinity to the actions of the terrorists, whose actions are against the economic culture and its affected, coherent, whose actions are against the economic culture and its effects cohered and adhered to by the general population for reasons of personal security and order, which crime organizations were able to provide to most of the slave populations under their influence, with the help of the bribes given to cooperative government officials who profited off of the partnership with the crime families. The present economic political order is an even more insidious, feudal order, in which the subjects of repression and oppression are the very functionaries of their own exploitation. This leaves those in control to manage the spread of violent dissidents to this order without having to be concerned by any domestic rebellion. Even with the rise of neo-nativist dissent, such as the Tea Party, along with more extreme nativist and supremacist groups, their power is more rhetorical posturing and in many ways an aid to those who control the status quo, since these groups want the reestablishment, if not the maintenance, of their former presumed privileges within the established orders. These groupings would comprise 55% of the often touted 98% underclass, leaving just 43% as the actual politically and economically repressed and suppressed. Yet, we, the latter 43%, must see our common social and historical cultural solidarity only in a visceral relationship that will nullify any abstract or academic deconstruction of our total potential into any fragmented and contending subgroupings. Those fragmentations will continue the distracting cognitive dissonance from our organic and vital interest to each other and the environment, which is our sustainer of last resort of our inherent solidarity. Thank you and good evening.